Hello folks, this is Ted White, and today I'm going to show you how to master keyframe animation in CapCut PC. Now we're going to start out with how to rotate text, and then we're going to move on to how to slide text in and slide text out or move text. And then we're going to look at how to make text gradually bigger. And then we're going to look at how to change the color of text. And the final thing in the text subject is how to change opacity of text. And we're going to do all of this using keyframe animation in CapCut PC. The next thing we're going to look at is how to zoom in and how to zoom out, and then how to zoom in to a specific area of the screen using keyframes or keyframe animation in CapCut PC. And then the next thing we're going to look at is how to make an object track to your hand or track to something that's moving, and we're going to use keyframe animation to make it so that it tracks to the hand. Okay? And then the next thing we're going to look at is how to change saturation or video saturation or colors in a video while the video is playing using keyframe animation. And the last thing is just a little bit of a bonus. I'll show you how to control the volume in audio in CapCut PC using keyframes. Now this tutorial is going to be over 40 minutes long. It's going to be broken down into chapters, but it was made for the user in mind. I'm not here to make money, I'm just here to help people. Let's check it out. All right, folks, so the first thing we're going to do here is import the file that we'll be doing the editing with. So I'm just going to select the file here and click open. And then I am going to drag and drop this clip to the timeline. The next step is to go up to text, and then we'll go down to default text and add to track. And then I'll make sure the text box is highlighted here and make it the same length as the clip. And then what I'll do is I'll go up to text under basic. I will change default text to text. Under font, I will go to resolve, or any bold font would be good. And then under color, I'm gonna have to move myself here. So color, I'm going to select blue. And then I'll move myself back. And then I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. And the first thing we're going to do in regards to keyframe animation is we're going to tackle plane rotation or rotation. So you can rotate clicking on this particular icon and dragging. Okay? You can also rotate using by just pressing up and down on this, as well as typing in the value and pressing enter. Okay? And you can also rotate using this. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start at 0. We will start at the normal position, and I'm going to select to add a keyframe here. So it's black right now, and we will add a keyframe at the beginning, and we'll make sure that the text box is highlighted. Okay? So I'm adding the keyframe, and then I'm going to scroll the playhead about 5-ish, somewhere around 5.04 seconds. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this, and I will rotate it 360 degrees. So it will do a full turnaround within this time frame. So this keyframe right here is basically the beginning of a change in a variable. And the variable for this particular instance will be rotation or plane rotation, okay? So once I put in 360 and enter, the keyframe has been added, and it will actually do a 360 degree turn here. Okay, so I'm gonna play this just so you can see. Put it full screen. Okay, and there you have it. So when I changed the value, so it went from 0 with this keyframe, I moved the playhead over to here, and then I put this at 360 degrees and I hit enter. It automatically added a keyframe here and automatically added a keyframe here because we had an initial keyframe here which signaled a change, okay? And it will stay, so now that it's at 360, it will stay at 360 until we would change it again. All right, so that's how you rotate using keyframe animation in CapCut PC. All right, folks, so what we're going to do next here is we are going to take the text and we're going to do something like this. We're going to do a slide in and a slide out, okay? So what I'm going to do is I will put it right about here, and instead of putting a keyframe for rotation, we're just going to put a keyframe on position, and what we're going to do is add a keyframe right here. I'm also going to copy this Y coordinate here, which is -638, and so I added the keyframe and it automatically added it on the timeline in the text box here. So that's what happens, and that signifies the start of a change, okay? In this particular instance. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to move this ahead a bit. So I'm gonna move the playhead ahead about 2 seconds or so, around that time. And then I am going to move this to the side so it slides out, and then that automatically added another keyframe, but the y-axis changed. You have to be very, very accurate in order to get it exactly what the value was, so that's why I copied it. And I am going to paste it in, so now we have the same value, and hit enter, so it will come out straight. It won't come out up a bit or lower a bit. And then what I'm going to do is keep these coordinates till about here. So I'm going to add another keyframe, and what that's going to do is the X position and the Y position are the exact same in between this keyframe and this keyframe. So that means this will stay in the same position. And then I'm going to actually slide it back in and off the screen around this area right here. So what I will do is move the text. So I'll drag the text back off the screen, and then that will add a keyframe here and a keyframe here, which is a change, okay? So that will be a change in the value of position. And I'm gonna paste the -638 so that the Y value, so it comes straight in, and so it came straight out and straight back in. It doesn't go up or down, okay? And we will take a look at this. Let's check it out and see what it looks like. Okay, and there you see a simple slide in, slide out using keyframe animation for text. All right, now if you want to make them quicker, if you want to make the slide in quicker, you could just delete this keyframe, and then you could put it right about here, and you could bring this in this position, put the minus Control V 638 so it's closer. If you bring these closer to each other, so if you bring the keyframes closer to each other, it'll make the slide out quicker. It'll move quicker, okay? And then I'll do the same for this one. I'll grab this and I'll bring it closer so it'll make the slide back out quicker. So let's play this and take a look. Here, I'm going to put it on full screen. I'll put the playhead at the beginning and put it on full screen, and we'll play it. So that was quicker. and the slide out is quicker. So that's how you do a slide in and slide out with text using keyframe animation. All right, folks, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make text gradually bigger over time. So I'm going to delete these keyframes one at a time here. And then what I'm going to do is drag this back, make sure it's in the middle. So both axes, both blue lines are on the screen and they're meeting in the middle. So that means the text is in the middle. So what we're going to do here is for the value this time, it's just going to be the scale. Okay. So we're going to take a look at the scale. Right now it's at 139%. Let's say we started at 100%. It doesn't matter when you start it, but I'm going to put 100% and enter, and then I am going to add a keyframe. So this will mean the start of a change when it comes to putting the keyframe in, and it will be a change in the size of the text. Okay, so it's going from a small, like a regular size, to it'll be a bigger size here. So I'm going to scroll ahead a little bit, and I am going to put this to 175, and then I'll hit enter, and once I hit enter, it will automatically add a keyframe right here, and it will add one right here, okay? Because I've made a change in the value with putting an initial keyframe here. Okay, enter. So that's bigger. So let's just play this. I'm going to put it on full screen. We'll play it. And it's reached the 175%, and it will stay at 175% until you add another keyframe in an area past the most recent, which is 175%. If you put another keyframe and let's say put the percentage back down to 50, if I put the percentage back down to 50, we're changing it from 175. You hit enter, it'll add a keyframe here, also a keyframe here. So it will go from 175 to 50. So I'm just gonna play this and you can check it out. So it gets bigger first, goes from 100 to 175, and now it's getting smaller. And it will go down to 50% and stay at 50% until the end of the video, because there's no other keyframes put in past that point. So if you want to make them quicker, if you want to make this happen quicker, you just put the keyframes closer together, okay? And you'll see it happen really quick here. Let's play it. Full screen, much quicker, okay? So that's how keyframe animation works for gradually making text bigger as well as gradually making text smaller in CapCut PC. All right, folks, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to change the color of text using keyframe animation. So I'm going to delete these keyframes here, and we're going to start in the middle. And since there's a keyframe icon right beside color, that means that we are able to use keyframes in order to make changes here. So we're going to use keyframe animation. So here we're going to start with the blue color as it is, and I'm going to hit a keyframe, and then I am simply going to scroll ahead a little bit, and I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to move myself. I'm going to have to move myself every time here. I'm just going to leave myself over there for now. And I'm gonna change it to red. And then as you can see, once you changed it to red, it automatically placed a keyframe here and here, because we initially put a keyframe for the start of a change for the blue color. Okay, so now you're kind of catching on to how this is working, I'm sure. So the next, I'll scroll ahead a little bit, or a lot, I guess, and then I am going to go down to color, and I am going to change it to green, and then I'm going to, as you can see, it added a keyframe here as well as here on the timeline. making sure that the text box is highlighted the whole time. And then I am going to scroll the playhead ahead again, and I'm going to go to color, and I am going to change it to purple. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm going to put it on full screen and we're going to check it out. Okay, so as you can see, that's very pretty, and it goes through all the colors as you move from one color to another. So it's quite colorful, as is the background here in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Canada. So that's how you use keyframe animation for changing color to text in CapCut PC. All right, folks, so the last thing we're going to deal with in the text subject here for keyframe animation will be opacity. So I'm going to delete all these keyframes for color. Here, we're going to make sure the text box remains highlighted as usual. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move myself back over here, and we are going to go to blend, and underneath blend, we're going to go to opacity. Okay. And here I'm just going to show you, I'm going to put the opacity actually at 0. So as you can see with opacity, it basically fades the text away. And opacity fades everything regardless of what you're dealing with. Text, a picture, whatever it is. If you go from 100% to 0%, it'll make it disappear, okay? Because it'll fade it out. So that's the whole that's the whole purpose of opacity. So I'm going to add a keyframe here, and the text has been disappeared. It's not in the frame. And then depending on how quickly you want to appear, if you want the text to fully appear very quickly, you will put a keyframe right beside the initial keyframe. However, if you want it to slowly fade in and appear slowly onto the screen, you'll put it further away from the initial keyframe. So I am going to change the opacity here to 100%. It automatically added a keyframe here for opacity and blend, because blend is the parent of opacity. And then I'm going to put another keyframe right about here. So it will stay at 100%. Okay, I want it to stay at 100% between this keyframe and this keyframe. I want the text to show. And then just to show you how quickly it is, I'm gonna do a quick fade out here. So it should be a lot quicker fading out than appearing. Okay, so then I'm going to change the opacity to 0, and it automatically created a keyframe for here and here on the timeline in the text box. So let's play this. It'll be a slow appearing of the text, and then it'll be a quick disappearing of the text. So I'm going to put it on full screen. We'll play it. Relatively slow, and this should be very fast once it comes up here. There. Much faster. So now you see how that works, how keyframe animation works for opacity with text in CapCut PC. All right, folks, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to deal with mastering keyframe animation in zooming. So I'm going to import a different video here, and this is the video I'll be importing. I'll select it, and then I'll click open. From there, I'm going to add the track to the timeline, and what we're going to do first is we will, straight from the get-go here, we'll do a slow zoom in. We are going to have the scale at 100%, okay? And we are going to add a keyframe right here. Just as we did with the text, we will add a keyframe right here, and then we will do a very slow zoom. So we'll just make it, it'll be at 120%. And we will click enter. So if you put 120% and then click enter, it will add a keyframe right here, and it will also add a keyframe on the timeline. Okay, so I'm going to click enter, and it just did that. So let's just take a look and see what this looks like. I'll put it on full screen. And as you can see, if you look at the edges, it's slowly zooming in. And that's that. So what we're going to do next is I'm just going to make it much quicker. So I'm actually going to drag this keyframe very close to the original keyframe, and I am going to put it on full screen, and since it's closer, it just means the zoom will go much quicker than it did. So it's only going from 100 to 120, but it should go a lot faster. Let's take a look. And it does. Okay, so that does that trick. Now what we're going to do is, instead of that being 120, let's make it 200. Okay, notice it's not centered. Well, that's the last thing I'll do, is I'll show you how to zoom in on a specific area, which I do have a complete video on, which you can see up at the top here. So I'm going to make this even closer, and we're going to do a very fast zoom, or at least very fast compared to the previous zooms. So let's put it on full screen and we will play. Much faster, okay? But it's not centered. It's very important to learn how to do the centering and zoom in on a specific area, especially for these tutorial-like videos. It's mandatory. So I'm gonna delete this keyframe. So we'll start at the normal position, at 100%, not zoomed in or zoomed out, and we will move the playhead to about here. And then what I'm going to do, actually what you're supposed to do initially, is we have the scale here at 100%, and since we're changing the position, because let's say I want to zoom in on my face, which is not the center of the screen, it'll be my face, which is to the right a bit of the center. What we're going to do is we are going to put a keyframe for the position, and as well as the keyframe for the zoom. Okay, so this is the first time we're doing 2 keyframes at once, and you're totally able to do that, and that's how you can take full advantage of using keyframes. Is you can have 10 different things changing at once if you want. Okay, but I'm going to scroll the playhead forward, and then I'm going to zoom straight in on my face. Okay, so we are going to zoom straight in on my not so good looking face. Okay, so there we are, and then I'm going to release, and then as you notice here, it's zoomed in. It automatically, once I released, so I zoomed in, and once I changed the value from 100%, it automatically created a keyframe for this, and then I scrolled over to my face, and it automatically created a keyframe for position as well once I did that. So let's take a look here. Yep, a keyframe has been added right there, and that one keyframe handles both the scale and the position, because the scale and this one keyframe handles both the scale and the position for the initial value, so the start of the change. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm going to put it on full screen and we'll see how this works. As you can see, it's zooming off center and zooms straight into my face. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is a good skill to learn. All right, zooming to a particular area of the screen. All right, so that is how you zoom in CapCut PC. Now I'm going to show you how to zoom out, okay? So we zoomed in using keyframes, keyframe animation in CapCut PC. Now we're going to zoom out. So how we're going to do that is we are going to put the playhead right about here. We're going to change the scale to 100. Okay, and then, oh my gosh, you know, what happens? This is terrible. What are we going to do? Well, we just simply go to the start position here, which is normal screen, and it's 0, 0. So you just want the X and the Y to be 0, okay? And right now the X and the Y are far from 0, but we're back to 100%. We're at the proper zoom. It's just we gotta move this so that it fits the preview screen perfectly. And that's simply, you just put a 0 here at the X and a 0 at the Y, okay? So we'll just play this. Zooms into my face. I smile, and then it zooms out, okay? And we're back to normal screen. So that's how you use keyframes or keyframe animation to zoom in and zoom out and zoom to a specific area of the screen in CapCut PC. All right, so the next thing we're going to do in regards to keyframe animation is I'm going to show you how to track or move an object around the screen using keyframes, okay? So I'm going to delete these keyframes from the zoom here. And we're going to go to stickers, and then I'm just going to type in, I'm going to search for stickers. And I'm gonna put ball, and then just hit enter, and I'm gonna use any old ball that we can get our hands on. This one looks good. So I am going to add this to the timeline. I'm gonna make it as long as the video itself. Well, maybe not quite as long because I'm moving for part of it. I want it kind of where my hands, I want it to be able to track my hand movement to it for a certain period of time. So what we're going to do here is we're going to leave it right here for now. Okay. So what we're going to do is at this particular location, I'm going to try and follow my left hand the way I see it here. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then what I'm going to do is shorten this so that the ball just comes into factor right here. And then I am going to add a keyframe here for position, okay? And then I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to move it to where my hand is and release, and then it automatically added another keyframe right here and right here. And I'm going to move it back a bit because it wasn't 100%, sorry about that. And I'm going to add another keyframe right here. And let's just take a look. So it's following my hand a little bit good up until this point. And then the more keyframes that you can put closer to each other, the more accurate it'll follow the hand, okay? So with little movements, you can track better, okay? So I move the playhead, and then I move the ball. And every time I move the ball, it's a change in position. And since I put that initial keyframe, every time it adds a keyframe here and here that I move the ball, okay? I'm going to move the ball to in the middle of both hands here, and then move the playhead. Luckily my hands aren't moving. Oh, now they are again. So I'm going to move the ball back to my hand. And that was really fast. So this is where, like, you know, you have to be as accurate as possible and put as many keyframes if you want it to stick to the hand, and use as many frames as possible. You can zoom in on the timeline here and get as accurate as possible to get as many keyframes in. And okay, so the last bit will be not very accurate, but I am going to zoom out on the timeline, and then I'm going to put this at full screen, and this is how you can track using keyframe animation in CapCut PC. So let's take a look here. So the ball comes in right about there, follows my hand, and then I decide to put it in the middle, and then it goes right there. Okay, so you can see how it works. The more keyframes you use closer together when you're doing tracking, the more accurate it will be. Okay, and you can do that with text. It's basically called sticky text, where text sticks to your hand. There is a motion tracking feature here in CapCut, but if you want true accuracy, as of right now anyway, keyframes are still the better way to go. So that is how you use keyframe animation for tracking an object in CapCut PC. All right, folks, so the next thing we're going to use for keyframe animation in CapCut PC is actually just to change the color of a video, okay, or change the saturation. We're just gonna take a look and see how that works. So I'm actually going to delete these clips, and then I'm gonna go to media, and I'm gonna import the initial clip that we had of Cape Breton, Nova Scotia here, and I am going to delete this one, and I'm going to drag and drop this onto the timeline. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to adjustment, okay? There we go. And I am just going to go down, scroll down here, and where are we going for? Saturation. Okay. So I am going to hit a keyframe right here, and then I am going to scroll ahead on the timeline, and I am going to change the saturation so that it's black and white. Okay, so let's take a look at this. It's going to gradually turn black and white. So since I put the initial keyframe here, it generated a keyframe for here and signaled the start of a change. And then I put another keyframe here, and I changed the saturation, and that automatically populated a keyframe here as well as a keyframe here, signaling a change to that value, which is saturation. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm gonna play it on full screen, and you've kind of seen it already, but let's just check it out. Slowly makes its way to a black and white setting. Now that doesn't really do a place like this justice, right? It's a beautiful place that it's kind of known for its fall colors, so we don't actually want to be doing that with this particular film. So what we'll do is we will go back. We won't go back, but we'll scroll ahead, and as we go ahead, maybe we'll just go ahead a little bit and take our saturation back, maybe even make it a little more saturated here. And since we changed the saturation value and we scrolled ahead from this keyframe, it automatically populated a keyframe for the change here as well as here for saturation. Okay, so let's play this and see what it looks like. And this should be much quicker than it turning to be not saturated at the beginning here. Much quicker. Okay, so you see how that works. We could also, just from this point, let's change the saturation back to the normal. And then what we're going to do is from this part on, we'll change the tint and make the tint different. It's almost, so as you can see, it's giving it a more pink vibe in these areas. So let's take a look here. Black and white to oversaturated, and then we'll see the tint and the pink. And it gives it a more pink or purplish vibe there. I said pink, but it's actually purple. So we will just go here. We'll add a keyframe and we will change. Actually, if I change the tint, we wouldn't have had to add a keyframe. And as you can see, it goes from more purple to more green around. Okay, so let's do this, put it on full screen, and it should take a more greenish look as time goes on here. Okay, that is how you change the saturation as well as change all these features within CapCut PC, or all these values, when using keyframes. Okay? All right, the last thing we're gonna tackle today when it comes to mastering keyframes in CapCut PC and keyframe animation is we are going to take a look at audio. Okay? And I'm gonna delete these keyframes, and I get my audio just from the YouTube Studio audio library. I mean, you're not going to come into any copyright issues if you just get it from the cat's mouth itself. So that's where I get it all from. And anyway, I downloaded it to my computer. So I'm just going to import that in. Just give me a moment here. And we're just going to we're going to play this one as an example. So I'm going to add this track to the timeline. It's 10 minutes or so, it doesn't need to be. So I'm going to move myself here. I will zoom out on the timeline, and then I will make it the same size as the actual clip itself and zoom in. So let me move myself over here. And we're going to make sure the audio file itself is highlighted. We're going to press play. Okay. And you can hear the music. So if you want to set a keyframe and change the volume of the audio, you just put a keyframe right here. Okay. And that's just the normal level for the audio. And then if you want to reduce it, you'll play it for a bit, and we will reduce it, let's say to -10. Okay, and from this point to this point, you'll see a reduction in the audio. So let's say if you were speaking or doing a voiceover here, you would be able to hear your voice better because the audio would be reduced, and it will be reduced until you make another change. So let's take a look at this, or let's take a listen, I guess we should say. Let's see. Okay, so it's gone down. Let's go down a little bit more. So I'll do a change here, and it will automatically populate a keyframe here, and we should barely be able to hear this. Okay, I can barely hear it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring the volume back up and make a change, and then it's automatically going to populate a keyframe. Okay, right here and right here. And from this spot to this spot, it will be a gradual rise to the 5.9 decibels from, I think it was negative, what was it? Negative 27. So let's check this out. Okay, so you see how that works. And then if you just want to like change the keyframe and make it more of a sudden change, you just move the keyframes closer once again, making it a faster change. The same as keyframes work for everything. Okay, so you see how that, or you hear how that worked. So anyway, that is how you change audio volume and use audio there for keyframe animation when it comes to CapCut PC. All right, folks, so thank you for watching this video. If you found this tutorial helpful and you enjoy my other videos, please don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel. You don't have to sign up for notifications if you don't want to, that's up to you, but a simple subscription would go a long way. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.